Hey guys, what's up? Caleb Downing here, and today we got something really cool. We have the Fat Cat, right, from Yankee Hill. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this interesting, unique little suppressor. Let's get into it. Okay, so first off, full disclosure, Yankee Hill did send me this can. I did not pay for it, and so they sent me this can to make reviews and do whatever I want to do with it, and no matter what I say, it's already mine, so it's not like they're going to get the can back, all right? So I believe that opens me up to not having to toe a company line, as it were, and say specific things. That allows me to give a genuine impression, which is what we're going to do, and it's what we always do our best to do, all right? So let's first off go over some specs. We'll talk about what comes in the box. We'll look at some different options and different things and stuff, and let's talk about this guy, all right? Let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with specs. I'm not a huge specs guy, but it is important sometimes, and this guy, it's kind of interesting. You kind of need to know some of these specs. So let's throw them up on the screen and I'll read them off to you and we'll see what we got. Alright, so first off, like all Yankee Hill products, this guy has a limited lifetime manufacturer warranty. Now, I'm going to pause right there and I'm going to say this. I know some people have a problem with Yankee Hill warranties. I'm going to say a company should stand by their product. They should, right? I'm also going to say I have personally bought several Yankee Hill cans, and I have never been disappointed, never broken them, had baffle strikes, had issues, none of that. I shoot them below their minimum barrel length. I do all the stuff you're not supposed to do, and I never have had a problem with Yankee Hill reliability, all right? So, a company should have a good warranty, but I can personally attest that I have never had to use that warranty, and I have used and abused their cans, all right? So, take that with a grain of salt if you have to. I was not paid to say that. I'm giving you my honest opinion because I know somebody's going to bring that up. So I'm just putting that out there so I don't have to write it in the comments. All right, so let's get back to the specs. Our weight is 10.6 ounces. The weight with the adapter is 12.5 ounces. Our length is 4.25 inches. And our length with the adapter is 4.5 inches. Diameter is 1.94. That's the fattest part of the can. Construction is 17.4 stainless and Inconel. The mount, this is different than regular ones. This comes with the SRX adapter with a 1 3/8 by 24 hub interface. So the suppressor itself is 1 3/8 by 24, but it comes with the SRX mount, all right? We'll get into that in a second. Decibel rating is 141 decibels. Minimum barrel length for 5.56 NATO is 10 inches. That's your minimum barrel length, and that's all they give for this because this is a 5.56 can, all right? Hopefully that was enough information for you. That's just pulled directly off of their website. Let's get into what comes in the box before I really start talking about this guy. Basically, what you see here is what you get. All right, the box, just like all their other standard boxes, comes just like this. You get a little warning card. You get a cool little sticker, right? You get your instruction manuals. I guess I have 2 warning cards. Your instruction manual, which is going to have all the stuff basically that I just read to you. But make sure you read over these and make sure you know your barrel length restrictions and all that stuff to keep it doing what it's supposed to do, right? Other than that, you just get a foamy little box. That's basically all that comes in it. Well, that's all that comes in it right now. You also get your wrenches, and it comes with 2 wrenches. Very nice. You get this larger wrench with a, I believe it's a 1/2 inch drive. Is it 1/2 inch or is it 1/4 inch? I don't have my calipers. But this connects to your regular sockets, right? If you have a Torx bar, so if you want to attach your muzzle devices, now which this guy does come with a muzzle device, you can properly attach it with this guy. On this corner or edge or side, you have this little tooth-looking guy. This is used to interface with the suppressor itself and with their corresponding mounts. You also get this little wrench, which is only just that little hook there, which corresponds with the little notches and whatnot on your, again, your suppressor and your mounts to tighten everything down. But it does come with both of these, so that is nice. They don't make you go out and buy more tools. So that, along with the can, is what comes complete in your package. All right, let's take a closer look at the suppressor itself. Now, the Fat Cat is different. I don't know any other can that has, or company that has done this, to where they actually put, well, a cat's butt, basically, on the end of this can. It's just cosmetic. It does absolutely nothing different than the other version that they have, which is a standard version, which has a flash hider front cap, or end cap, front cap. They both are going to do the same thing. One just has some humor to it. The other one is just standard. So that's the interesting, funny, haha, but it shows that Yankee Hill has a sense of humor. And I like that. I like it when companies can take themselves for what they are and not try to put themselves off as like, you know, the world empire of space blasters. You don't need that. They can have a sense of humor, and they do, and I like it. Some other geometry of this can that we kind of mentioned in the specs is this is a 1.94 inch diameter can. So this is a fat can. That's why it's called a Fat Cat. This is larger than most other suppressors out there. However, it tapers down here at the back to, I believe it's about 1.5 inches or something like that. I don't know exactly, but this is the standard diameter as their other turbo cans. I believe they're resonator cans. I think they're all pretty much give or take like a thousandth or whatever of an inch. But what that means is on the inside here, and we mentioned it in the specs, this does come with the unselfish, I'm going to start calling it that, the unselfish industry standard of 1 3/8 by 24, 1.375 by 24, but your hub compatible threads, which means you're able to use a host of different other mounts. You're not tied in to Yankee Hill's mounts. However, they do have some really cool mounts. I've used their Phantom mounts before, their direct threads mounts before, but also this is the SRX mounts that comes with this guy. When I first saw this, when it came out of the box, I kind of thought it was a weird, almost like a direct thread. It looked just like a weird, funky direct thread, but it's not. This is actually the mount, right? So it comes with this, since this is a 5.56 dedicated can, this is a 1/2 by 28 threaded, basically a little mini brake, kind of. Just a little teeny tiny little guy. But this is a taper mount, right? So this is their newer lineup of muzzle devices and mounts. This is the corresponding mount that goes on the suppressor. But it's a taper system. So coarser threads, and then you have a taper, and then you have whatever your muzzle device is. They have different ones with flash hiders, with brakes, and this is like a mini teeny tiny little brake. All right, but this is what comes standard with the Fat Cat. It's not a direct thread, right? And it's not their traditional Phantom series mounts. This is a new SRX taper mount system. So it's kind of cool. I actually like this. Several companies are going to these, and it kind of makes sense. It doesn't take very long to screw on the suppressor, but then it stays on. It's nice and secure. It actually takes, I think somebody said, I'm not exactly sure who, but somebody said it takes 20% or so more force to take the suppressor off of a taper mount than it does to put it on. So if you put it on nice and snug, it's not just going to accidentally come off, all right? So that's a key thing. The mount itself, we kind of talked about it, adds only like 1/4 of an inch to the overall length and barely adds like 2 ounces, right, to the overall weight. That's not a whole lot. So you're not adding a ton of weight when they use these mounts, and you get the kind of versatility of security of the mount, but then also the compactness of the mount, as it were. You're not adding a whole bunch of different length. Conversely, if you use a traditional Phantom mount, you can see how much there's a difference there, right? The Phantom mount has all this other, probably like 3/4 of an inch difference or length that you're gonna have to add, plus the weight of the Phantom muzzle device, which is not bad. It just depends on what you're trying to do, what you want to do. But that's what comes with the can. That's what we got right here. Since we already are kind of talking about mounts and everything, we do have different mounts that we can run on this guy. This here is a JK Armament mount. I believe it goes in their War Eagle series. You can use direct thread mounts from a host of different other companies out there, tons of different companies. Their Phantom series. We also have a couple dead air adapters. This is the Xeno, basically their version of a taper mount, but you can even see with the Xeno, and you stack these guys up together, the Xeno's still going to add about a 1/2 inch overall length in length. So the SRX is actually going to be significantly shorter. Also, the Chemo is going to work with this guy as well. And again, as long as you have a hub compatible thread pattern, I think that's how you say that. It kind of sounds funny, but as long as you have that 1 3/8 by 24 thread pattern adapter, you can run it on this guy right here. All right, let's show it on some hosts real quick, and then we'll just jump in, go to the range, shoot this guy, and see how he sounds. All right, so here's a little SBR we have. This guy's fun. This guy's pretty dumb as far as like practicality purposes, 7.5 inch barrel. If you don't know, if you haven't followed the channel for a long time, this was my first, well, pretty much. I actually used this upper, not in this configuration, but I used this upper back when I was in law enforcement, and it was cannon fodder. It was so loud and obnoxious. I'm glad I never had to actually utilize it per se. I mean, I used it, but I never had to fire it because that would have been stinking loud. But we stuck the little SRX mount on here, and I'm going to show you real quick. When we put the SRX adapter on our suppressor, wow, got everything lined up. There we go. Get this guy on here, just nice and snug. I'm not torquing it down, but the way if you did want to torque it down, I'll just go ahead and show you that. Your little 1 wrench corresponds with the teeth on the adapter. And also, we didn't really show it, but Yankee Hill, they're pretty well known for this little pattern here that they have on their turbo cans, and I think even the resonator cans. They're basically miniature little grooved out 5.56 cartridges, is what it looks like. And then every so often, like every 5th one or so, you actually have a notch which corresponds with these little wrenches. They used to not do that. I actually have some of their original, the Turbo K, my Turbo K. It had the little bullet things, but it didn't actually have the little notches. Now they have the little notches, which makes it very easy, very nice to go ahead and attach your suppressors. But this is as easy as this guy is. It's regular righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. It's not a reverse thread. But there you go. When you stick that guy on there, that is a very short overall size system. The fact that this guy is this short, he's actually shorter than the Turbo K, right? We'll throw a picture of that up. We're actually shorter than the Turbo K, but the volume is definitely more than the Turbo K. And this guy only has like 2 baffles in it. It's got like, I think it's 2 baffles and a like a blast chamber. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on here, but there's some magic going on in here. When we see it at the range, you'll see what I'm talking about. But that's what this guy looks like when he's on the SRX mount, on a shorty little guy. We'll take him off, and I'll actually show you some of the cool features that this guy has as far as it being tapered in the back and fat in the front. Let me show you this guy on another build that we got. All right, so this is kind of cool. This is another SBR that we have here. We have our Phantom Series brake on the end, and so it's kind of recessed. Not kind of, it is recessed. The barrel stops about right here, and then our muzzle device just the tip sticks out at the end here. And so if you use the Phantom Series, this guy's the proper length to where you can get this guy tightened on, get it kind of ratcheted down there. And as you can see, it kind of tucks the bottom portion of the suppressor into the system, and then the fatter portion is still underneath the eyeline sight of your rail. So it really just sucks everything up, if that makes sense. It sucks everything in there. If you had your regular iron sights here, you can have them further out, so open up your sight radius a little bit. If you run your hands forward more, you know, you could have pressure pads and different things up here, to where traditionally, I mean, your rail would have to stop about right here, but this guy is able to tuck up underneath there, and it just looks cool. So it all depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, some other cans can do this, but they don't have this geometry. They're like this, but then they're gonna stick out further. Whereas this guy has the same volume as some of these other cans of a traditional sized can, as it were, but since he's fatter, you can cram that up into a shorter length. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So without further ado, we're gonna go to the range and we're gonna shoot this guy, because I could talk about it and just keep saying words, but let's see it in action. Let's see how it sounds. Let's actually stack it up a little bit against the Turbo K and the T3 that they have, and kind of see how it corresponds and how it sounds between those guys. Oh, wow. Okay, that shouldn't be that quiet. That should not be that quiet. Don't do that very much. I mean, that's right over the edge. Right on the edge, right over the edge. Daggum. That is nice. Stubby, short, fat can on a stubby 7.5-inch AR. Come on. Well, it doesn't cycle. That's not the suppressor's fault. But holy smokes, what the world? Well, goodness gravy. Holy smokes, what the world? Yeah, that wasn't whatever. I think he's just overgassed. Is he overgassed? Is that what that is? Going too fast? Yeah, that's super over gas. We're launching brass way forward. But guys, that is super crazy effective. Obviously we need to tune some stuff up, but that is super crazy effective on such a short little suppressor. That's nuts. That's nuts, nuts, nuts. Nuts, nuts, nuts. Yeah. And the fact if it'll run, which again, I don't think that's the suppressor's fault. This guy's way gas-wise messed up. But there's no gas in the face. I'm not catching a bunch of gas in my face. There you go. No, my eyes aren't steamed out. That is impressive. That is really impressive. Out of a 7.5-inch Mega Blaster. I don't know. I'd be interesting to see from you guys. I'm shooting like this, so you should be able to tell if there was a bunch of muzzle flash or not. Color me impressed. With a stinking cat butt on the end of all things. Again, the way that this guy really kind of looks well, that's not even proper English, but kind of a recessed ability of this guy, since it's shorter on the back end, or skinnier on the back end, fatter on the front end. He can kind of tuck underneath the handguard, so it looks, I think it looks cool. Almost makes it look integral-ish, kind of. It's different. It's very different. I'm trying to think of another suppressor. I feel like there's another suppressor that kind of bulges like this, but it's not coming to mind. It actually does its job very well. It is shorter than the Turbo K, but the sound level is, it's like between, it seems to me, I hope you can take this with a grain of salt. I was not told to say this, but it seems to me the sound level is in between a K and a T3. So a regular turbo and a Turbo K. This seems like it's kind of in the middle. It's just working. It's nice. Again, for its size, that's very hard to do. Very hard to do. You do a whole bunch of mag dumps and stuff, yeah, you do start to build up gas, just depending on your system, how it's all going to work. This one's building up a little bit of gas. I think it was the 613-9, whatever, that we had, not building up a bunch of gas. We shot this on 7.5-inch, not building up a bunch of gas and gassing me out. Whatever they did, that's pretty cool. That's pretty freaking cool. And if you want a cat butt, you get a cat butt on it. If you don't want that one, I think they have a model without it. But there you go. That is the Turbo Fat Cat. I think it's just called the Fat Cat. YHM Fat Cat. There you go. Alrighty guys, so there you go. That's the Fat Cat by Yankee Hill. It really, to me, it kind of, I don't know, it's right there between, as far as sound-wise goes, between their Turbo K and their T3. It's kind of right in there. I know that they advertise a decibel rating at, what was it, 141, which is really above 140. Obviously, it's one more above, which means that you really should still be wearing ear pro whenever you shoot this guy. That's above the threshold of what most people consider to be hearing safe. But I can personally say it sounded good. It had a good tone to me. And as far as sound-wise, again, it's set there right between the Turbo K, a short little can, and this guy's even shorter, right? But the sound-wise is between that and the T3, which the T3 is obviously longer. It's their full-size, basically, turbo can. So it sounded good. So the fact that they're able to do this and keep it in this short little configuration with only what it looks like, just, I think it's only 2 baffles and a blast baffle. It's like a blast baffle and 2 baffles. I don't know. Like I said, there's some wizardry and stuff going on in here, but it's working. For me, it's really working. If they were to extend this guy out and make like a fuller size, which I don't know why they would do that, then, I mean, I could only imagine the sound reduction that they would get out of that. What I would like to see down the road is a 30 cal version of this. Can you imagine putting this on a 300 blackout? That would actually, I think that would actually be really, really cool. Not sure exactly how the science and wizardry would work with all that, but I think that would be something to look for down the road. And maybe if enough of us complain about it, they'll make like a noodle poodle or something. I don't know. Who knows? They have interesting nomenclature names, and if they're making fat cats and stuff, then who knows? They might make something different. I'm getting off on a rabbit trail. We're not going to go down that road, but that's pretty much it, all right? So if you guys got any questions about anything you saw here, any of the mounts, any of the suppressor itself, anything about Yankee Hill, any of the stuff that you've seen behind me, or stuff you saw at the range, please let me know. Specifically, though, about the Fat Cat. If you got questions about it, mounting-wise, like what can it fit this, can it fit that, let me know, and if I have access to those things, I can take measurements, I can see how it works, and even make specific little shorts and videos and stuff for you guys about that. Love to help you guys out. I really, really do. Thank you, Yankee Hill, for sending this thing out. Really appreciate it. I think you got something special here. Excited to see what you guys come with up down the road, all right? Come up with down the road. That's what I was trying to say. My words get all discombobulated and fungled. That's why you shouldn't drink energy drinks. They mess up your words. Anyway, that's it. You guys be good, be safe. Appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, and everything, and hopefully we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.